Hello dear learners, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today in this video we'll be discussing one topic from mathematics, class 10, ICSE and CBSE. So the topic will be quadratic equations. So let's understand what is a quadratic equation. So quadratic equation is nothing but an equation which is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b and c are the real numbers and a cannot be equal to 0. Or we can also say a polynomial which has degree 2 is called as a quadratic equation. So you can look at the definition, although the definition is not important, but the form of the quadratic equation is important. Alright. So a quadratic equation in the variable x. So here the variable that we have taken is x. So a quadratic equation in the variable x is an equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. A cannot be equal to 0. Why a cannot be equal to 0? Because if a becomes 0, then this term becomes 0. Then the power of this polynomial will be 1. And for a quadratic equation, the power must be 2. Or the equation must be in this form ax squared plus bx plus c. So a cannot be equal to 0. Where a, b, c are the real numbers, as I said, and a here cannot be equal to 0. For example, you can look at these two equations. 2x squared plus x minus 300 equals to 0. So if you compare this equation with this one, then a here is 2, b here is 1, c here is minus 300, and the power you can see for the variable x is 2. So this is a quadratic equation. Similarly here in the second we have 4x minus 3x squared plus 2 equals to 0. This is also a quadratic equation. Now, in order to have the same form as ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, we can arrange this equation and write this as minus 3x squared plus 4x plus 2 is equals to 0. Now, if we compare this with this equation, then a is minus 3, b is 4 and c is 2 here. So a here is not equals to 0. So any equation of this form ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0 is called as a quadratic equation. So the first thing that the question can come in the examination in the objective type is check whether the followings are quadratic equations or not. So you may be given certain equations and you have to check whether these equations represent a quadratic equation or not. So what you have to see is whether this equation can be transformed in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a not equal to 0. So let's take this to example and see whether these equations are quadratic or not. So let's start with question number 1. So here in question number 1, we have x plus 1 whole square is equals to 2x minus 3. So let's expand this equation, let's rearrange this equation and see whether this equation represents a quadratic equation or not. So for that what we have to do is, this term on the left hand side, it is in the form of a plus b whole square. So what is the formula for a plus b whole square? We will use that. So it is a square plus 2ab plus b square. So here we have x plus 1. So x plus 1. So instead of a we have x, instead of b we have 1. So wherever you have a, write x, wherever you have b you write 1. So expanding this we will get x squared plus 2 into x into 1 plus 1 squared. Wherever we have a, I have written x, wherever we have b, I have written 1. So expanding in the formula a plus b whole square equals to a square plus 2ab plus b square. X plus 1 whole square can be written as x square plus 2 times x times 1 plus 1 square, which will be simply x square. 2 into x into 1 becomes 2x and 1 square is 1. So this left hand side can be written as, you can do directly here also. So x square plus 2x plus 1. Now on the right hand side, you have to open this bracket with 2. So 2 times x becomes 2x. Then plus into minus becomes minus, 2 times 3 becomes 6. So we have expanded this using the formula a plus b whole square, and we have opened this bracket on the right hand side with 2. Now let's rearrange this equation further. So x square plus 2x. Now you can bring all the terms to the left hand side. This plus 2x, when you bring it to the left hand side, it becomes minus 2x. We have plus 1 here. This minus 6, when you bring it to the left hand side, it becomes plus 6. And on the right hand side, we are left with 0. Now, this 2x and 2x can be cancelled because one is plus, the other one is minus. So our equation can be written in the form of x squared, and this here, alright, this is 1 and this plus 6 here is equals to 0. So 1 plus 6 becomes plus 7 equals to 0. So the final equation, after we simplify, we get x squared plus 7 is equals to 0. Now you have to say whether this equation is quadratic or not. So this equation is a quadratic equation. If you represent it in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, a not equal to 0. So you can clearly see that the coefficient of x squared in this equation is 1. So a is equals to 1 here. That means a is not equal to 0. And also you can see that the variable has power 2. So this equation and this equation is similar. Here the value of b is 0. So that's why we don't have this second term in this equation. So x squared plus 7 equals to 0 represents your quadratic equation. So that means this first equation is quadratic. Now we will see whether the second equation is quadratic or not. Look at the second equation or second question. We have x minus 2 x plus 1 equals to x minus 1 x plus 3. So we have to check whether this equation is a quadratic equation or not. So for that we have to do the multiplication here. So we will multiply x with these two terms first. So x times x gives us x squared, plus into plus, plus x into 1 becomes x. Then we'll multiply with minus 2 with both x and plus 1. So minus into plus becomes minus, 2 into x becomes 2x, minus into plus becomes minus, 2 into 1 becomes. So similarly, you can do the multiplication on the right hand side. X times x, x squared, x times 3 with a plus sign, so 3x. Then with minus 1 into x becomes minus x, minus 1 into 3 becomes minus 3. Now let's rearrange the equation further. X squared, this and this gives us minus x. Remember, they have opposite sign. So whenever they have opposite sign, you have to take the difference. And the sign will be of the greater value. So 2x is greater than x. That's why we have minus x here. Then we have 2. Then on the right hand side also, x squared plus 3x minus 3x. So opposite sign, again take the difference. 3x is greater, so here it will be plus 3x minus 3. Now let's bring all these terms to the left hand side. So we'll get x squared. You bring x squared on the left hand side, this becomes minus x squared. Then we have this minus x here. You bring minus plus 2x on the left hand side, this becomes minus 2x. We have minus 2 here. You bring this to the left hand side, it becomes plus 3. And on the right hand side, we have 0. I am keeping all the terms, similar terms together. So here you can see x squared and x squared gets cancelled. One is plus, the other one is minus. So we'll get minus x minus 2x. They have same sign, value will be added, sign will remain same. So minus x minus 2x will give us minus 3x. Minus 2 plus 3 will give us plus 1 equals to 0. So after simplifying this equation, we get minus 3x plus 1 is equals to 0. Now if you look at this equation and compare it with ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0, then we will find that here the value of a is equals to 0. That's why we don't have any term with power 2. So if the value of a becomes 0 in any equation, then we can say that this equation is not a quadratic equation. So the first equation here is quadratic equation. So you will write yes, it is a quadratic equation. And the second one here is not a quadratic equation. So I'll give you some more questions. You can practice and you can check yourself for this question whether the following equations are quadratic or not. I'll give you some more questions. So here I have given you 4 questions. 4 equations are there. So you have to check whether the following equations are quadratic or not. So I have written the answer also. The first 2 equations will be quadratic. The third and the fourth question, it is not a quadratic equation. So you will simplify these equations and you will verify yourself whether these equations are quadratic or not. So this is for your self practice. So now, how to solve a quadratic equation? So basically we can use three methods for solving any quadratic equation. So the methods are by the method of factorization, which we also call it as middle term breaking. The second method that we will use is by using the formula, which is also called as the quadratic formula. And the third one is by completing the square. So using these three methods, we can find the roots or the solution for a quadratic equation. This is the method of factorization. So here I have taken one question. So what we have to do is we have to find the roots or the solution of the quadratic equation by using the method of factorization, which we also call it as middle term breaking. So this is the basic method of solving a quadratic equation. So let's learn how to do factorization of a quadratic equation. So here you can see the question is 2x squared plus x minus 6 equals to 0. For this quadratic equation we need to find the roots. So for that we will break the middle term. Now in order to break the middle term, you can follow this process. So you can take one product and you can take the other one as the sum. Now what you have to do is, here the term that you should get should be the product of the coefficient of x squared and the constant term here, that is the value of c. Here a is equals to 2 and c is equals to minus 6. So when you multiply a and c, you must get that number here. So the product a and c here will be 2 into minus 6 will be minus 12. So when you take the product of the two numbers here or the two digits here, you should get minus 12. Now when you add the same two numbers, the digit that you should get is the value of b. What is the value of b here? The value of b is 1. So what you have to do is you have to insert two numbers in these brackets such that when you take the product, it will give you minus 12, and when you add, it will give us plus 1. So it's very simple. How do we get 12? One, we get 12 by multiplying 12 into 1. Another we get by 2 into 6. Another we can multiply 3 and 4. Now which number is suitable? That you have to decide. Now if you multiply 12 into 1, you will get 12 here, no problem. But when you add the number, will you get 1, the difference? For example, if this is minus 12 and this is plus 1. Minus 12 into 1 will give you minus 12. But minus 12 plus of 1, will it give you minus or plus 1? No, it will give you minus 11. So you cannot take this number. Similarly, next one, if you multiply minus 2 into 6, you will get minus 12 here. But when you add these two numbers, you will not get plus 1. For example, minus 2 plus 6 will give you plus 4. So this is also not suitable. Now if you take 3 into 4, and if you multiply 3 into 4, you will get 12 obviously. And if you add, will you get 1? Yes. Here if you take number as minus 4 and here minus 3, that is plus 4 and minus 3. So let's see whether we are getting both the results or not. First of all, plus into minus, we are getting minus here. 4 into 3, you are getting 12. So that means you are getting the first value correct. Now the second, plus 4 plus minus 3. Now plus 4 plus of minus becomes, plus into minus becomes minus. So this becomes 4 minus 3. So 4 minus 3 will give you how much? Plus 1. Because 4 is greater than 3, the sign of 4 is positive. So here it will be positive. So when you do the middle term breaking, you have to get these two numbers which can satisfy both the conditions. When you take the product, you get the product of A and C here. And when you add, you should get the value of B here. Alright. So when you do that, so we got the number for middle term, that will be 4 and minus 3. So this equation here can be now written as 2x squared. Instead of x, we will write plus 4 and minus 3x. So plus 4x minus 3x minus 6 is equals to 0. So if you see, the difference will give us plus x here. 4x minus 3x will give us x. Now after this step, so the first step is this one, to find the numbers for the middle term. After you do that, then from the first two term, you will take the common. So 2x squared, 4x. What is common here? Common will be 2x. So when you take out the common as 2x, what is left here in the first term? It will be x. And what will be left in the second term? We are left with plus 2. Similarly, from the third and the fourth term, also we have to take the common. So here we have a minus sign, so minus will be common. Common here will be 3. Open the bracket. Now since you have taken out, okay, minus 3 common, here it will be x. Now since you have taken minus outside or common, this sign will change and this will become plus. Now here only you can check whether you are getting the answer or not. How you can check that? Just check the number inside the bracket. This digit or this number must be same. X plus 2, x plus 2. By any means, if you are not getting the same digits here or same terms here, then you have to recheck whether you have done this correctly or not. Since I am getting the same value, x plus 2, that means I have done it correctly. So after this, what you can do is, from the entire term, you can take out x plus 2 common. So you can write x plus 2, then the remaining is 2x minus 3 is equals to 0. Now here, since quadratic equation has power 2, we will get two roots or two solutions for the equation. So that root or value can be obtained using this equals to 0 or this equals to 0. Because on the right hand side we have to get 0. Now that can be obtained only if either this term is 0 or this term is 0. So from here we will get the two roots. For example, if we take x plus 2 is equals to 0, then we will get the first value of x or the first root as minus 2. So if you take x is equals to minus 2, then this equation will satisfy. Or you can also take the second term equals to 0. 2x minus 3 is equals to 0. Or you can take this 3 to the right hand side, it becomes plus 3. Or x is equals to 3, this 2 gets cross multiplied and goes to the denominator. So if you take x equals to 3 by 2, again you will get 0 on the left hand side also. That means you are getting two values of x which can satisfy this equation, which are also called as the roots of this quadratic equation. Therefore, the two roots of the quadratic equations are minus 2 and 3 by 2. Okay, now let's try the second equation. Here we have 2x squared minus x plus 1 divided by 8 is equals to 0. So we have to find the roots of this quadratic equation. So for that, what we have to do is first take this equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So simplify this equation further so that it becomes easy. For that, what you can do is you can take the LCM on the left hand side. So LCM will be 8 here. So here we don't have any number in the denominator, we have 1 here. So 1 times 8 is 8. So you multiply this with 8 into 2, this will give us 16. Here also we don't have any digit in the denominator, that means we have 1 here. So 1 into 8 is 8. So 8 into x gives us 8x. Here we have already 8. So 8 times 1 is 1 is 8. So 1 into 1 becomes 1. Or what you can also do is simply multiply by 8 throughout this equation. Both on the left hand side and right hand side you will get the same value. For example, what I mean here is if you multiply this on both sides with 8, then you will get 2x squared minus x plus 1 by 8 is equals to 8 into 0. Open the bracket. So you will get 8 into 2, 16x squared minus 8x plus 8 into 1 by 8. This 8 and 8 gets cancelled, you will get 1 here. And on the right hand side, 8 into 0 gives us 0. So you can follow either of the method. You can either multiply with 8 in order to remove this denominator, or you can take the LCM and do cross multiplication. So here if you cross multiply, we will get 16 x square minus 8x plus 1 is equals to 0. So our equation to solve will be 16x square minus 8x plus 1 is equals to 0. So let's take it from here. So in order to break the middle term, again what you have to do, simple step, take the product. So product will be of A and C, and when you add, you should get the value of B here. So here A is 16, C is 1. So 16 into 1 has to be 16 here with a plus sign, and when you add the same digits, you must get the value of B, which is minus of 8. So again you have to find two such digits here, two such numbers which can satisfy both the condition. So for that we will take, now when you practice it will come automatically to you. So we will take 4 and 4. 4 times 4 will give you 16, 4 plus 4 will give you 8. But here you have to be careful with the sign. 4 times 4 will give you plus 16, fine, but 4 plus 4 will give you plus 8. But here we need minus 8. That means we will take the sign as negative. So minus 4 into minus 4. Minus minus becomes plus. 4 times 4 becomes 16. So this is okay. Minus 4 plus minus 4 will give us minus of 8. So this one is also okay. So the terms for the middle term, for the digits for the middle term will be minus 4 and minus 4 here. So let's simplify this now. 16x square. This can be written as minus 4x plus 1 is equals to 0. After that, take the common from the first two terms. Here you will get 4x common. So 4x minus 1. Here again you will take the common. Since there is no digit which is common, you can take as 1. So this becomes 4x. This minus we have taken outside, so this sign will change. So this will become 4x minus 1 equals to 0. Again see, we have 4x minus 1 inside the bracket, 4x minus 1 inside the bracket. That means we are doing it correctly. So you can verify here itself. Now from the entire term, 4x minus 1 is common. Then we are left with these two terms. 4x minus 1 equals to 0. Now in order to satisfy this equation, this has to be 0 or this has to be 0. So here what you can do is, if 4x minus 1 is equals to 0, then we will get 4x is equals to 1, or x is equals to 1 divided by 4. Now the other term you can see is also 4x minus 1. So you will get the other value also 1 divided by 4. Therefore, the two roots, or you can do it here, or if 4x minus 1 equals to 0, you can get x is equals to 1 by 4 here also. Alright, so therefore the two roots are 1 by 4 and 1 by 4. So question number 3, this has come in 2017 also. Now this question is slightly different from the first two. Here we have digit with the under root. So most of the questions in the exams that will be given with the roots. So you have to practice such questions. Don't get worried by looking at the roots or looking at complicated values. I will tell you how to simplify this and how to solve it. So let's solve this equation. So the equation is root 2x squared plus 7x plus 5 root 2 equals to 0. So we need to find the roots of this quadratic equation. So what we have to do again is we have to find the value for this middle term. So again follow the same steps. So take the product. You will get the product of A and C in the bracket, and when you add the same two digits, you will get the value of B here. If you are getting the value correct, then you will get the roots. So when you add, the value of B is 7 here, plus 7. We don't have any problem. But when you multiply, you should get the product AC. So what is the value of A here? Value of A is root 2, and value of C here is 5 root 2. So when you take the product A into C, then you will get root 2 times 5 root 2, which is simply 5 root 2 into root 2. Now this 5 root 2 into root 2 is nothing but 2. 2 can be written as root 2 times root 2. So this number should be how much? 10. Alright. So when you take the product AC, here you must get how much? Plus 10. So by looking at the terms, don't get nervous, don't get worried by looking at the terms or the digits, by looking at the roots. You can simplify it like this and you will get a digit which is very similar to the known numbers. Okay. So now here we have to find the terms or the digits that will satisfy these two conditions here. So what are the two numbers that will give us 10 and 7? So it will be 5 and 2. So 5 times 2, 10, 5 plus 2, 7. And you can see that both the terms has a positive sign. That means both the numbers here will be a positive number. Plus 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 2. 5 into 2 plus 10, 5 plus 2 plus 7. That means both these conditions has been met. So for this middle term, now we will write, instead of 7x, we will have plus 5x and this plus 2x plus this term will be there, 5 root 2 is equals to 0. After that, the same step again, take the common from these first two terms. So x is common here, so x common, here it will be root 2 times x and here it will be plus 5. Now from the second, third and the fourth term also you can take the common. Now common here will be root 2. So this will be root 2 times x plus 5 equals to 0. Now how we took root 2 as common here is because 2 can be written as root 2 into root 2. So this term 2x can be written as root 2 times root 2x. So this root 2 we have taken out outside as a common. So the remaining term is root 2x. And from here also root 2 has been taken outside. So we are left with 5. And I have told you that this term inside the bracket should be same. If it is same, then you don't have to worry. Alright. So whenever you have roots, you have to take common in this way. Alright. After that, from the entire term, root 2x plus 5 is common. Then we are left with x plus root 2 equals to 0. So now again, if root 2x plus 5 is equals to 0, then root 2x will be equal to minus 5, or x will be equals to minus 5 divided by root 2. This root 2 will go to the denominator. Or you can also take this equals to 0, x plus root 2 equals to 0. So you'll get x is equals to minus root 2. So we got two values of x, minus 5 by root 2 and minus root 2. So therefore the two roots of this quadratic equation are minus 5 divided by root 2 and minus root 2. So here I have given some questions from past years for your practice. So there are 6 equations for which you have to find the roots. So for first 2 I have given the answer also. For remaining I have not given the answer. So these are the years when this question has been given. So the first question, root 3x square plus 10x minus 8 root 3 equals to 0. Second one, 4 root 3x square plus 5x minus 2 root 3 equals to 0. Third one, 3x square minus 2 root 6x plus 2 equals to 0. Fourth one, 2 root 3x square minus 5x plus root 3 equals to 0. Fifth one, x square minus 3 root 5x plus 10 equals to 0. And the last one is root 2x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 equals to 0. So once you are done with the examples that I have given you, you can do these questions, solve these questions. That will boost your confidence for solving these questions. For solving quadratic equation is by using the quadratic formula. So for that, if our quadratic equation is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, then this discriminant b square minus 4ac, this term is called as the discriminant. So this discriminant, if it is greater than or equal to 0, then the real roots of this quadratic equation is given by this formula, x is equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So using this quadratic formula, we can find the two roots of this quadratic equation. For that, you have to see whether this b square minus 4ac, that is discriminant, is greater than or equal to 0. So here we have this question, 3x square minus 5x plus 2 equals to 0, and you have to find the root of this quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. So as I said, in order to use the quadratic formula, first we will see whether the discriminant is greater than equal to 0 or less than 0. So here you will first write down the value. So this is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So compare the two equations, you will get the value of a, b and c. So comparing here, we will get a is equals to 3, b is equals to, we have minus 5 and c is equals to 2. So the value of a is 3, b is minus 5 and c is 2. That is the first thing that you have to do. Now you will see the discriminant. So we know b square minus 4ac is called as the discriminant of this quadratic equation. So put the value and see whether this comes greater than equal to 0 or less than 0. So b here is minus 5. So minus 5 square, with sign you have to put the value, minus 4. A is how much? It is 3 and c is 2. So we have put the value of b, a and c in this formula. Now this minus square becomes plus, 5 square becomes 25. So minus 5 square is nothing but plus 25. Then we have minus sign here. 4 into 3 into 2. 4 3 is 12. 12 2 is 24. So the difference will be 1, which is greater than 0. So as this discriminant is greater than 0, we have the real roots for this quadratic equation. And here we can use the formula. So let's solve it by using the formula now. So a here was 3, b is minus 5 and c is 2, and we got b square minus 4ac is equals to 1. Now the formula that we have is, we know x is equals to minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac divided by twice of a. So this is the quadratic formula that has to be used. So we'll just put the values now. Minus, we have minus, b here is minus 5, so bracket minus 5 plus minus square root. This b square minus 4ac, we have already obtained the value here, so no need to write the value and do the calculation again. Simply you can write here 1. Whatever value you obtain here, you write it here. Then in the denominator, we have 2 times a here is 3. Now simplify further. So minus into minus becomes plus. So plus 5 plus minus. Then square root of 1 is simply 1 divided by 2 into 3 is 6. Now as we know, quadratic equation has two roots. So we will obtain the two roots from here. So what we have to do here is x is equals to, for the first root, we will take only the positive sign. We have plus minus 1. So we'll take plus 1 here first, divided by 6. So this becomes 6 divided by 6, which will give us 1. So this is the first root. Now for the second root, we will take the minus sign here. So we have 5 minus 1 divided by 6. So this will give us 4 divided by 6, or you can say this is 2 divided by 3. So using the quadratic formula, the roots of these quadratic equations are 1 and 2 divided by 3. Okay, so the second equation that we have here is 2x square minus 2 root 2x plus 1 equals to 0. So again, we have to use the quadratic formula to solve this equation. So let's see the value first. The value of a is 2. The value of b here is minus 2 root 2. And the value of c here is 1. You just have to compare this with the equation ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So compare this with this equation, you'll get the value of a, b and c like this. After this, what we have to see? The discriminant b square minus 4ac. So b is how much? Minus 2 root 2 whole square minus 4. A is 2 and c is 1. Now minus square becomes plus. 2 square is 4, root 2 square is 2. So it's like this, 2 root 2 into 2 root 2. So this 2 into 2 becomes 4, and we have root 2 times root 2. So this is nothing but 2. So the square of this number becomes 8. Alright, root 2 times 2 root 2 times 2 root 2 becomes 8. 4 into 2 is 8. Minus here 4 into 2 into 1. This is also equals to 8. So the discriminant b square minus 4ac is equals to 0. As it is equals to 0, we can use the quadratic formula to find the roots. So let's use the formula and get the value. So we know x is equals to minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So simply put the value here. Minus b is how much? Minus 2 root 2 plus minus b square minus 4ac. We have already obtained the value, which is equals to 0. So you can write 0 here. And 2 times a is how much? 2. Or we can write x is equals to, this minus into minus becomes plus. So we have 2 root 2 plus minus square root of 0 becomes 0 divided by, we have 2 times 2, which is 4. So simplify this further, this becomes 2. So here we have root 2 divided by 2. Now this can be further simplified by writing 2 as root 2 times root 2. So cancel 1 root 2 again. So we are left with x is equals to 1 divided by root 2. So here, since the value of the discriminant is equals to 0, the two roots will be equal. We will discuss this later. So the two roots here will be 1 by root 2 and 1 by root 2. These are the results. Leaving you with two questions here. You can solve these two equations using the quadratic formula. I have also given the answer. The first question is 2x square minus 7x plus 3 equals to 0. You'll get x equals to 3 and half here. And second question is root 2 x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 equals to 0. You'll get x equals to minus 5 by root 2 and minus root 2. So I'll end this video here. It will be a long video otherwise. So I'll continue with the other topics from this same chapter in the next video. So do watch the video and like, share and subscribe, and also do comment and hit the bell icon for the further notifications. Thank you everyone.